how to teach hot yoga's standing bow pose, also known as standing bow pulling. One of the most glamorous, graceful, iconic hot yoga postures on the planet, but also a challenging posture to practice and definitely challenging to teach. So if you're a yoga teacher, the information I'm going to give you on this video is going to help you immensely communicate the information to your students. If you're a yoga student, not a teacher, this video will also be helpful to give you a better understanding on how to practice this pose. For this episode, we're going to go back and forth to the yoga studio so I can demonstrate the points. We're going to do that with Barkan senior teacher Elena. Okay, tip number one, if you're just reciting the script, or what Bikram calls the dialogue, it's not going to cut it. If you're just giving information, otherwise you're giving the same information and instruction to a first day student, to a 6-month veteran, 1-year veteran, 5-year veteran, 30-year veteran. You have to understand who's in the room and adjust your instructions accordingly.
That makes sense.
If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. You want to learn all about hot yoga, flows, factoids, tutorials. Hit the subscribe button, the like button. Any comments, put them down below. I'm happy to get back to you. In the Barkan Method online teacher training program, we have live sessions a couple times a month. In the last live session, we were talking about this very subject. And Jo, who's also a senior Barkan teacher, articulated the point beautifully. She said, the difference in the Barkan world, instead of just giving instruction, we're giving and offering knowledge. Now we want to be able to communicate that knowledge to our students, to one, give them the best experience they can have, and two, help them improve in their practice. The very first thing you have to be cognizant of if you're a yoga teacher, if it's a brand new student, is the grip. 99.99% of the time, students are going to hold their foot inaccurately. They're not going to understand what it's like to turn the palm out. I don't care how articulate you can put it. Turn your palm out, thumb back, elbow in. Bikram likes to say, Mama, give me money, which is sort of weird.
That's very weird.
Doesn't matter how you articulate the instruction. They're still going to twist their hand. They're still going to hold it wrong. So let's head to the studio with senior Barkan teacher Elena, and then we demonstrate that point. So when they get the grip wrong, one of the first ways they'll hold wrong is from the outside. Watch Elena hold from the outside. That's an easy grip to notice that it's wrong. However, let go for a second, Elena. This is the grip that most of them do. They twist their hand because I'm telling them to hold from the inside. So they twist their hand, now they pick up the foot, and now this is where they think is right. And 99%, like I said before, are going to hold this way inaccurately. Look at the shoulder, look at the elbow. That's how you know they're holding it wrong, because the shoulder and the elbow look so funky. Now turn the hand around and hold the proper way. Look at the shoulder, look at the elbow. Once again, do it wrong. Look how the shoulder turns in toward the center. Do it right. And there you are. And that's the proper grip. You have to watch it, because if you're a teacher and they're holding wrong, doesn't matter what you say, they're out of the position. Welcome back. When it comes to a new student, I don't even wait for them to hold wrong. I just go right over to them, turn their hand out and say, now pick up your foot, and turn their hand in the proper position. I don't wait for them to hold it wrong. I'm right behind them. I turn their hand out and guide them to hold their foot. Now, I teach this posture a little differently than Bikram. I don't want the students to kick as high as they possibly can. If you're kicking too high, you're not going to be able to lower your body down. Every now and then, I may want to break script before the posture starts and explain the percentage that we use in our body to be successful in this pose. 40% is the back bend. That happens automatically, naturally. You don't want to overarch your back. Just let it happen naturally. 20% is the shoulder you're kicking with, and the hip of the back leg you're kicking with. That's 20%. So what's the remaining 40%? Drum roll. It's the hamstring of your standing leg. In order for us to access that 40%, that hamstring flexibility, you've got to get your body down. Now, if they kick too high, like they tell you to do in the Bikram world, they're not going to be able to go down any further. They're not going to be able to go down far enough. So here Elena's going to kick as high as she can. And now when she starts to come down, look what happens. She's stuck up here in the clouds. She cannot go any further because her hamstring's not going to let her. Or if she's tenacious and she wants to go, she's going to turn your head a little bit too. Her whole body is going to turn out of position. Why? Because the hamstring is going to push her out of the way. Welcome back. Now, I'm not saying don't kick at all. We still have to kick in order to get the counterbalance happening. You're reaching your arm forward, you're kicking the leg backward. Let's go back to the studio with Elena. Let me show you what I mean. Now, I'm not saying don't kick, because if she doesn't kick, let's say imagine she just keeps her arms stuck to her body. If she doesn't kick and she comes down, she's not creating the balance. She's not creating the opposite direction. I'm not saying don't kick. And here it is again. I said it before. How high you kick initially depends on the flexibility of your standing leg hamstring. So what she's going to do is kick up just enough, and everybody's different, and every day is different, so she can come down to where her stomach's parallel to the floor. And you have to figure that out. That's where the practice is. And once you're down where the stomach's parallel to the floor, then you can start to kick up to the ceiling. Now you get 40% of the equation is now completed because you're getting the hamstring stretching. As a yoga teacher, the question you need to communicate to your students, and if you're a yoga student, you need to understand this question. So how high do we kick? I don't know. Everybody's different. Every day is different. The more flexible your standing leg hamstring is, the higher you must kick. At the advanced level, you have to kick as much as you can in the beginning, but you have the flexibility in your standing leg to lower it down. So the right question is, how high you kick initially depends on the flexibility of the hamstring of your standing leg.
That, detective, is the right question.
In the old days, Bikram would have us fall forward at the end. If we didn't fall forward, we weren't finishing the pose. At one point, Bikram stopped saying it, I stopped saying it, but it's still important to illustrate what he meant by going all the way forward at the end. Let's go back to the studio again with Elena. Let me show you what I mean. In the old days, Bikram would have us go all the way forward and touch our hands on the floor. That's how important it is to get the body down. In other words, she's going to come down, she's going to come down, she's going to kick, kick, kick. And at the end, we would touch the hand on the floor in front of us. That's how we know that we're down low enough. Now, this video is not on how to practice standing bow. I've done several videos of that in the past. Watch this video after you watch this one. This is more about how to communicate the information. Sometimes the words aren't going to help. You can say it articulately, you can say it beautifully, but they just don't get it. So if you've been teaching yoga for more than a couple years, you can do a hands-on adjustment. I also did a whole video last year when I was in Costa Rica on hands-on adjustment. I want to show you one point that's really important. We want to get the knee that you're kicking with, the upper leg knee, underneath the foot. So the foot grows out of the back of the head. Then we know that the hip is positioned properly. Let's go to the studio with Elena. Let me show you exactly what I mean and the hands-on that you can use to get that knee underneath the foot. So one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make is to get that knee out to the side. So here, Elena's going to do the left side. She's going to pick up her foot, and she's going to come down, and she's going to be able to see her knee, right knee in the mirror, and her foot, look at where her foot is. Her foot's pointing this direction. So here's a great hands-on. You can hold the elbow, hold the foot, and you're going to get the knee underneath the foot. So now the foot's going to grow out of the back of the head. That's how you know you're in the proper position. So as a teacher, you can make sure the knee comes from here to here, and then it comes out of the back of the head. That's a great hands-on to get your students on track, to get them to that next level. Welcome back to my home. Now, like I explained before, when you have a group of students, you've got first day students, you've got 6-month veterans, 5-year veterans, 30-year veterans, you're going to get different information. As you start advancing in the pose, when your foot can go, let's say 6 inches above your head, I don't know what that is in centimeters, probably 35, 40 centimeters. When they can go about this far above your head, now you want to lower the grip. You no longer want to hold, in the Bikram world, they say 2 inches below the toes. The Barkan world, I say where the top of the foot and the ankle meet. Now we want to go below the foot on the ankle. That's the only way you're going to be able to extend that leg all the way up to the ceiling, especially as you start to get more advanced. Let's head to the studio with Elena. Let me show you what I mean. Now, a different grip from the Bikram and the Barkan world. Bikram says hold 2 inches below the toes. I'm going to have Elena pick up her foot. If you're holding 2 inches below the toes, and now you come down into the position, you're not going to be able to get enough extension. So what I did was I changed it, even for the beginner, even for the first day beginner, hold where the top of the foot and the ankle meet. So watch this grip. So it's a little bit lower. Having Rochelle zoom in. It's a little bit lower grip. Now she's going to get a little better extension of her shoulder as she kicks back and reaches forward. Now the advanced level, once your foot can go, let's say, this far above your head, now you can hold just below the ankle, or just below the foot on the ankle. So you're just below the ankle on the foot, and you're still gonna squeeze. I said that before. You don't wanna find a bony part of your ankle or your leg to hold on to. Squeeze the flesh. So as she comes down, this is a little more advanced. Down she goes, and now she gets more extension in her back arm and her back leg because she's holding down just a little bit lower. So that's a little more advanced tip. Welcome back. Last week, I recorded a video on how to teach standing head to knee. If you missed it, make sure you check it out after you watch this one. And it's very similar to standing bow and standing head to knee because standing bow and standing head to knee are long held poses. You're going to run out of instruction. Now what happens? You give it all the important instructions. Hopefully you'll be giving individual instructions based on who's in the room, beginning, intermediate, advanced. Now we need to look around the room and one, make corrections. And number two, we need to start coaching. Here's an example. Once I've given all the instructions, once I've given all the corrections, let's head back to the studio one more time with Elena. Let me show you how I coach people, how I crack the whip to get them to get to that next level, to get to their full expression. Now I'm going to get into coaching mode. Once I've given all the instructions, once I've made the corrections, now I'm going to say, buddy down, Elena. Now kick back. Extend your shoulders. Reach that arm forward. Chin up a little bit more. Now kick, 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 all the way up and change. Come on back to your side. Once again, I want to reiterate this point because it's really important. I'm not saying don't kick. I'm not saying don't kick that much. Everybody's different. When I was able to straighten my leg in the standing bow, a long time ago, in my last lifetime maybe, I had to kick up as high as I possibly could initially, but I had the flexibility to lower down. Let's take a look at that video. Let me show you what I mean. So here I am resetting my hip back behind me. As I lower down to where my stomach's parallel to the floor, I can still feel it's not straight. And I know I need to reset my hip. So I come up a little bit more. Wait for it. I come up, there it is. I extend it back. Now I lower down to where my stomach's parallel to the floor. And now I'm able to straighten the leg, even though Steven's head's in the way. Boom, there it is. Resetting the hip, lowering down, having that hamstring flexibility. Back again to the point that Joe had made in our live sessions a couple weeks ago. We want to give knowledge to the room. We don't want to just regurgitate instruction. We have to understand who's in that room and make those adjustments and make those corrections and coach those people accordingly. You give them the instruction, you make the correction, you start to coach, you help to coax people to the next level with your words and the intention behind the words. So I'm encouraging you to break script. Once the instructions are given, the important instructions are given, make corrections, make encouragements, offer knowledge to your students. So that's our episode for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Hit the notification bell. Any comments, questions, or frustrations in this post, as a teacher or a student, put them down below. I'm happy to get back to you when I learn all about hot yoga, and I'll see you at the next video. Bye, everyone.